Hey guys! So if you've watched my latest video, you might have noticed the little hint at the end of the video. And if you guessed that I want to make the Powerpuff Girls, you are on point. And today we are going to start with the self-proclaimed leader and beautiful smart redhead Blossom. But that's not the only beautiful smart redhead coming your way today, because this video is also a tiny little collab with my dear friend Hexjan, who made the one and only beautiful Miss Bellum. Like with my other dolls, I will be making my Blossom as a 16-inch ball-jointed doll from scratch. And to make the doll, Blue Pixie already sculpted a beautiful face, some hands and some shoe bases that I will be using alongside my Nova doll body. So, how about we start printing her right away? Let's go! Assembled doll already looks so cute, and I really love the face Blue sculpted already so much and really kind of want to paint it now. But before that, it's always better to make the wig, so how about we do that first? As you can see, I made her a wig cap from some sheer tights and PVA glue already, and will be using this beautiful red hair that I cut off a wig for it. The usual way to go is to start on the back of her head and work my way up, gluing the wefts until I reach the top of the head. As you can see, I switched to glued wefts for a bit more thickness and then glued the top layers in a different direction so that the hair will have an upper ponytail later on. To keep the hair in place, I already tie it up into a ponytail and then add some more wefts in the same direction, but instead of using a hair tie, I decided to sew the hair in place to avoid risking the hair looping because of the hair tie. I then added some side bangs to the front of the wig, and before filling everything up, I also decided to add the front bangs already. To flatten them down, heat is always the best option. I then proceeded to fill up the side bangs until I reached the top of her head and cut and style each layer right after gluing. Makes things a little easier. To glue the top of the parting line, I will be using a folded around weft and glue it in place with some uwu glue. The wig is almost done now, and if you wondered, this is usually the aftermath of every wig process of mine. Wig is looking good though. However, she is still missing her big red hair bow, so I decided to make it from some shiny red fabric. I fold a rectangle like this and first sew the long seam, but leave a gap in the middle. Afterwards, I then fold the seam to be in the middle of the back of the piece and sew these small seams left and right. Afterwards, it looks like this, and I now just have to turn the whole thing inside out and end up with something that almost looks like a pillowcase. Then I just need to fold it like this, push a needle and a thread through the middle, wrap around the thread a couple times, and in the end hide the thread with a small red fabric strip that I glue around in the middle part of the bow. I've already added Blossom's pink hair tile on the ponytail with a fabric strip, and now just glue the ribbon on top of her head with some hot glue. And for the heart on the pink hair tie, I 3D printed, painted and UV glossed this little heart, and also just glue it to the hair tie. And with this last step, the wig is done, and I love it so much. I never made a wig in this hair color before, even though natural red hair is actually one of my favorite hair colors, so I'm happy this was the perfect opportunity to do so. I also love the soft curls. I think it fits Blossom perfectly. And since the wig is done now, we can finally paint the face. The goal was to give Blossom a kind and slightly more mature face, as she is the self-proclaimed leader of the Powerpuff Girls and also super smart. So after dusting on some micro glitter onto her face, I give her some soft blushing with pastel chalk dust and a soft brush. In the same run, I also brush her lips with a deeper shade of pink and can then go ahead and sketch out her eyelines with a brown pencil. I decided that I wanted to give her a cut crease eyeshadow look, because why not? So I used some pink pastel chalk dust and spread the eyeshadow on her upper lid with a small brush. I make sure to blend it nicely towards the upper lid with a Q-tip and then also sketch out her eyebrows with a mix of orange and browns. I then need to manually mirror the eye towards the other side, which basically means I have to draw it. And when that is done, I can finally add some eyeliner, in this case black acrylic paint brushed on with a tiny nail art brush. This step always takes a lot of patience, but I love how much it makes the eyeliner pop. I'm also using some light orange-brown gouache paints to paint some single hairs onto her eyebrows and afterwards also add the lower lashes with a pretty shade of brown. When I was younger, I always admired those delicately painted lower lashes on BJDs and I never thought I could ever paint these myself, but it just shows that practice makes perfect, I guess. When the lashes were done, I then shade them with some black pastel chalk dust and then of course had to add some sparkly shimmers to her cheeks, forehead and nose. After final sealing, I added some high gloss varnish to her lips and lower waterline and also decided to give her some cute flower earrings. Now just the lashes are missing, which I'm gluing on with some PVA glue and now just have to let the finished face dry. In the meantime, I wanted to make her eyes. I had these two eyebrows still laying around and first painted the iris pink. I then added some pink mica powders to them with a Q-tip to give them a little bit more of a metallic shimmer because I think it's pretty, and then first add a tiny dot of UV resin to the iris and place two small black rhinestones in for the pupil and cure it with my small UV lamp. Afterwards, I then add a bigger drop of UV resin to both eyes, spread it with a toothpick and then add some pink glitter to the irises. I also spread the glitter with a toothpick evenly, cure it and then add another layer of UV resin so I can add a tiny star catchlight to them alongside with a teeny tiny small rhinestone. Once again, I cure the whole thing and then add the final doming layer to the eyes that always adds so much dimension to them. Cure them one more time and then end up with these two super pretty eyes. And I think we should not wait any longer and put the eyes and face together, shall we? Bam! Oh boy, I'm always so impressed by how much life the eyes give the face and how much of a difference they always make. I love Blossom's little face so much. Okay, so I actually had a bit of trouble concentrating on making the doll because I totally got hooked on Love and Deep Space. And let's be real, Love and Deep Space has officially ruined any other dating sim game for me. Love and Deep Space is a full 3D dating sim where you can actually get to interact with your love interests and you fight aliens together in Lincoln City. I'm not even kidding. You get to unleash evil powers alongside your intergalactic boyfriend to protect humanity and then immediately go on a cute cafe date right after. Priorities, right? And get this, they just added a super aesthetic journal system so you can basically scrapbook your moments, add music, dynamic effects and even save your layouts as templates. Plus, you can now add a tiny kitty widget to your home screen that basically counts your days together, tracks stamina and showcases your favorite moments together with him. So your man is literally always with you. Oh, and if you need some comfort at night, their new sleep feature lets you listen to white noise, watch your character while they are asleep from every angle, or you can even curl up in his arms. No judgment here. And they even added an immersive AR system so you can even take your boyfriend into your room. You can even change angles, take photos, or have him right there with you while you're studying. And right now, Love and Deep Space are giving away 16,500 diamonds and 80 free pulls in the new Romance banner update. With that, you can basically unlock that dreamy romantic ceremony rehearsal outfit and get rings for free if you own matching formal wear. It's honestly too cute not to try, believe me. So if this sounds right up your alley, click the link in my description or in the pinned comment to download Love and Deep Space and begin your journey. Traversing deep space be with you. Thank you so much to Love and Deep Space for sponsoring today's video. And I should really get off my phone now and continue with the doll probably. So with the first steps of the custom doll made, she of course now needs an outfit, right? I was actually really unsure what kind of style I wanted to give my Blossom design because I just had too many ideas. What I definitely wanted though was my Blossom to be more of a grown-up college version. So in the end, I thought that a mod fashion inspired look with Y2K elements would perfectly resemble her aesthetics and in general the aesthetics of the show. I will however combine it with some love core elements. So my Blossom will basically have a cute little white blouse with some puffy sleeves, and on top of that she will wear a top with straps and a big heart in front of it inspired by the Powerpuff background heart. I will then make her a checkered red-pink mini skirt that will have a black belt with a golden heart buckle, and for her legwear she will get some white stockings and some shiny black Mary Janes with a heart-shaped sole. To top off the outfit, I will add some more accessories and a bag inspired by the Powerpuff hotline telephone. I'm honestly so excited to be working on this doll, so how about we make her skirt first? I actually couldn't find a checkered fabric that was red and pink and had a small enough patterning for a doll size, so I decided to make my own. I mapped out the pattern pieces in Adobe Illustrator and added the checkered pattern, and now need to cut it from red fabric vinyl with a Cricut that I borrowed the usage from my dad. When the pattern is cut, I then need to weed it all out. This is always a time-consuming process, but it's also very relaxing. I then cut apart the pieces and placed them onto some light pink fabric and then ironed the vinyl on with a new iron press my dad recently got, where I don't need to hold down the press until it releases, so instead I can just dance around and show you my little dog. After ironing, I just need to release the vinyl film and have some pretty checkered fabric pieces now. Of course, I still need to cut out everything. As you can see, I didn't know what transition to do here, but in the end figured it out somehow and will now sew together the front seam of the skirt good sides in. This was a little tricky because I had to make sure to align the pattern, but it luckily worked better than I would have thought. I then iron the seam allowances flat and you can actually barely tell there's a seam. Next step is to glue around the seam allowances for the pocket openings. I simply use my Uhu glue stick for that. Of course, you need to cut little notches into the seam allowances before. With the piece done, I can then take my pocket bags and sew them underneath the pocket openings with a couple stitches. I also decided to add some stitching along the pocket openings and will now add a fake zip fly. I marked it on the pattern piece before and now just mark some guiding points of it onto the fabric piece and then top stitch it to the skirt piece. To prep the back pieces of the skirt, I needed to first sew the darts on them good sides in. And afterwards, I can take my front piece and sew the back pieces along the side seams, finished sides in. Everything looks really nice so far, which means I can then iron the bottom seam allowances and hem it in place. For the waistband, I prepped 2 fabric pieces and will first sew them together in the front. I also cleaned up the top seam and added some belt loops for the black belt later on. I just glue and iron them in place and last but not least have to attach the waistband to the skirt. To make her belt, I added some little heart charm to 2 straps of shiny PU leather and glued the whole thing onto a thicker strip of pleather. I then decided to bedazzle the belt with some golden half beads and add them to the heart charm and some more studs onto the belt as well. With the closure added and the belt threaded into the waistband, the skirt is done and I absolutely love how it turned out. I really love the combination of pink and red and I feel it's gonna look so nice later on with everything else. For Blossom's blouse, I'm actually going to be using a fabric that a follower recently sent me, and it's so cute because instead of being just plain white, it has like really cute little butterflies in white on the white fabric and it looks so cute. But since we already made plenty of blouses on this channel before and the process is kind of self-explanatory, let's just make this a little montage. Blouse is simple but so cute and will look really nice with the rest of the outfit, I think. The top she will wear on top of this is still missing though, so let's make that now. Since I couldn't find the right jersey fabric for it as fabric to use, I actually decided to use an old t-shirt for harvesting some material for this shirt. I actually do that quite often because it's cheaper and more sustainable rather than buying everything new all the time. I actually did not purchase anything for this doll material-wise other than the resin and the hair for her wig, and only used stuff that I still had laying around. So after cutting out and cleaning up the pattern piece for the top, I made some little straps for it with these small snap buckles and pink PU leather strips, and simply attach them to the top with glue. To make the heart for the front of the top, I cut it from some pink PU leather and added a stencil that I cut from some matte vinyl to it. I then first paint the darker pink heart on it and then remove the parts of the stencil and add a second stencil. I can then paint on the red heart rings to the heart. After it was dry, I then removed the stencil completely and ended up with a really cool looking heart. To place it on the top, I put it onto the doll, add some glue dabs onto the top and then glue it onto the front of the top. Oh my god, it looks so cute! The finished top turned out cuter than I could have ever imagined, and I really like that the heart kind of stands out of the top. This would be actually such a cute top to have in real life, oh my god. Before we make the final accessories, let's make Blossom's shoes. I printed them in some leftover resin, then cleaned them up nicely, and you can see they have the cutest heart-shaped sole. I then cure them in the curing station for about 2 minutes, and when they are done cooking, I then paint the whole shoes black with some acrylic paint. To make them shiny, I then spread some UV resin top coat onto them so that they will really have this lacquer finish afterwards, and cure them in my UV lamp for 90 seconds. For the ankle straps, I then add some shiny pleather strap loops to the inside of the heel of the shoe and can then thread these straps that I made with a small golden buckle through the loop. And for the final finishing touch, I paint the heart sole and the heel sole in a beautiful shade of red. I really love how shiny and cute these shoes are. Even though they are simple, they are really gorgeous, and the heart sole is such a highlight. Alright, the outfit is pretty much done, but I really wanted to give Blossom some heart-shaped sunglasses because I thought that would fit so well. And of course the stockings for her outfit are also still missing. So let's make both real quick, shall we? Stockings and sunglasses are so adorable and really pull the whole outfit together even more, I think. However, the thing that I was mostly looking forward to make is still missing, which is of course the Powerpuff Hotline purse. I actually found pictures of this purse online because apparently dolls can release it at some point. And when I saw it, I instantly fell in love with it. But it's not available anywhere anymore. So I guess I just have to make it myself in miniature format for my Blossom doll. Which means after making a vector graphic for the face, I cut it out from some multiple colored fabric vinyls, and instead of just making the back in plain white, I decided to go with some white glitter fabric vinyl as the base. Which means I first have to iron on the white glitter to some white cotton fabric, peel off the protective film, and then place the yellow circle on the front pattern piece, iron it on, and then repeat the steps for the blue, the black, and the pink vinyl, and end up with something like this. I then take a 1mm EVA foam piece and glue it to the back side of the front piece before cutting in notches into the seam allowances and glue it around as nicely as possible. I do that to both back and front pieces and also to the side strip. With some contact adhesive, I then glue the side strip to the back piece first and then prep the zipper by gluing more strips onto the fabric part of the zipper, trimming it a little, gluing the seam allowances around, and before adding the zipper to the back, I made some glittery fabric loops for the crossbody strap later on and glue them to the side strip, and then finally add the zipper part. I then still need to glue the front piece of the bag to the side strip as well. For the crossbody strap, I prepped some chains on rings with tiny carabiners and also a glittery fabric strap, and simply attached the chains to the strap with glue and added a tiny golden stud in the end. The bag is however still missing the phone receiver and the nose, and while I was 3D printing cutting those, I made the phone cord from some wire that I wrapped around a skewer, then slid it off the skewer once I was done, and now of course need to spray paint it red. I used pink wire because I didn't have red wire, and I didn't want to buy red wire because I had pink and red spray paint. Meanwhile, the nose and phone receiver were done printing in red resin, so I decided to just gloss the nose with a UV top coat to give it a cute, almost shiny look, because the nose of the hotline usually glows up, and it kind of gives that illusion. And after curing, I glued it to the front of the bag with some Uhu glue. The phone cord was also all dried now, so I attached it to a tiny eyelet that I pushed into the back of cam and secured it on the inside with a bit of blue tack. I then also added the handle to the bag with another glittery fabric strap and some golden mini studs. And here is the painted phone receiver that I will now glue onto the wire with some super glue into a tiny hole I drilled into it. To attach the receiver to the handle, I will be using this red shiny fabric strap on which I glued a snap button. And just wrap it around like this and close it. And with that, one of the coolest bags I have ever made, I think, is done. I'm really happy how it pretty much almost looks exactly like the original, and it's so small and cute. Can you tell that I have a weird obsession with handbags? I actually have way too many myself, and I still find more that I want. So with the purse done, the only thing I still wanted to make is, of course, a custom doll stand for my Blossom doll. And I also really wanted to make the actual Powerpuff hotline phone, because she needs to be called when there's evil around, right? Luckily, Blue Pixie also sculpted this beautiful little phone for me. So let's make the phone and the doll stand real quick and finish this project with it. Also ended up making Blossom's favorite book as a miniature version, as a little accessory. And with everything done now, I can finally assemble my Blossom doll. And doing this always makes me so happy to see all the hard work coming together. Okay, so she is just put together and she is literally so cute. Which means that I can finally present to you my Blossom doll. And here is my Blossom redesign. I'm so in love with her and I just think she looks so soft and adorable. Now the question is though, should I make Bubbles and Buttercup too? I would appreciate if you let me know in the comments below. The next video is going to be a My Little Pony redesign again, so I hope you're looking forward to that. I for sure am. However, please make sure to also check out HexGen's Miss Bellum doll. She is beyond iconic. Such a diva. Alright, that's it for this video. See you guys soon. Bye!